Now, I'm really excited to introduce our speakers. Like our previous speaker had mentioned, our first speaker is Flossie Hall, who is the co-founder of the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs. Flossie is an active duty Navy spouse and accomplished serial entrepreneur specializing in e-commerce, marketing strategy, business development, growth of operations, and sales. She generated over 7-figure revenues within the first year of launching her meal prep and delivery company called Healthy Mama in 2015. And she went on to sell over 500,000 meals, created over 100 military spouse jobs, and donated over 10,000 meals to homeless veterans. Flossie has 4 children and currently resides in upstate New York. She loves being near the ocean, the sunshine, reading a book a week, and listening to all things NPR. Flossie is going to be joining conversation with our own amazing Lydia Hernandez. Lydia, I don't know that I have words to express how much I enjoy working with you, but she's one of my favorite people and very, very excited to hear this conversation between Lydia and Flossie. So I'm going to turn the stage over to you both. Take it away.
Thank you, Meg, for that intro. You are also one of my favorite people, so that got you. Flossie, I'm so excited to be here with you. I've read a little bit on my own time about your organization and your work, and it really reminds me of Power to Fly and the community and the resources that we also try to provide for our community. So I'm excited to share more about it and have you share it with our Power to Fly community. So let's get started. First, I'd love to commend you on the work that you've done. And also for congratulations on being a successful MilSpouse.
I'm working on it.
So can you help our community understand the meaning and the purpose behind this term MilSpouse?
Yeah, so military spouse can mean a multitude of things. It's not just active duty service members and their spouses. It's actually anybody who's been married to a service member at any point in time. And even sometimes military spouses can classify themselves that they've maybe married a service member post-deployment or post-service, but they're dealing with the repercussions or the fallout of that service through medical care or through navigating the VA system. So maybe they weren't married during active duty service, but a military spouse can mean many things, but it's hard and it's exhausting. It's also rewarding. So it's a whole group of unsung heroes that sacrifice a great deal for our nation as our service members serve.
And I know you mentioned a little bit about this to me prior to this conversation, but can you also expand on or share how military spouses are often non-traditional entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I'm actually a non-traditional entrepreneur. It wasn't supposed to be my path either, and I actually stumbled into it. Military spouses are one of the highest unemployed demographics in the country, which I'm sure you've heard all about already. So traditionally, moving every 2 to 3 years, it's hard to establish employment, it's hard to establish work, it's hard to establish upward mobility in our careers and advance. And we often don't have the time or the energy or the resources to also juggle a full-time career because we're often at home by ourselves, juggling children and their schedules and schoolwork and after school sports. And we're in a location where we don't have family or friends to help us, where we can say, hey, can you babysit or can you help me out while I launch this project or go to a work meeting? So it's very isolating. So military spouses are turning to entrepreneurship in droves because of lack of employment options. So actually taking their careers into their own hands and saying, well, I can't find a job in PR, or I can't find a job in marketing, or I'm really great at health coaching and consulting. I'm going to turn that into a business. So military spouses are traditionally solopreneurs working in consulting fields or digital fields where they can work from a laptop and Wi-Fi from all over the world. So basically, they are turning their career choices into an entrepreneurial endeavor to take control of their lives and their paths. We certainly have some amazing rock stars like Erica Mack, who you just heard, who scaled 7-figure businesses and raised venture capital. But the traditional military spouse is turning to entrepreneurship out of lack of employment options.
Yes, I can imagine. And also moving around, as you mentioned, having to establish that community every time you move. Mm-hmm. So with with the lack of resources and the lack of a reliable support system to start business ventures, how is your organization supporting women in your community with these two challenges?
Yeah, so when I started my first business in 2015, I quickly searched for mentorship and I looked for other people that were like me. And I didn't realize that there was this whole community of military spouse entrepreneurs and veteran entrepreneurs out there. I was luckily in the San Diego community and plugged into the business community. But as a military spouse and most military members, you want to plug into your own support system. We like to stay in this military bubble and find other people who are serving at the same time or who understand your lifestyle. So after my first company, I went to start working for veteran organizations to advocate for military spouse entrepreneurship. And there were so many veteran programs and so many entrepreneurial programs. And I was like, well, where's the military spouse entrepreneur programs? And they're like, oh, well, military spouses can just come. They can just come to ours. And we would attend, and it was geared towards veterans, and it was geared towards transition, and it was geared towards a second career where they often still had a spouse at home taking care of their family while they're working on their second career, or traditional entrepreneurship with scalability and tech and venture capital. And I was like, this isn't really matching what most of our community needs. So in 2018, we went on to co-found the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs, specifically dedicated to military spouses seeking a path to entrepreneurship. And it's run and by military spouse entrepreneurs for military spouse entrepreneurs with education, community, curriculum, resources, virtual co-working space, and it's everything that you need. But the biggest part is community. You can turn left or right within the organization of over 2,000 military spouses that are also living this lifestyle, also building businesses. And you can sit and ask, what have you done? How have you dealt with this? How have you juggled your business moving from state to state or maybe overseas? Or how did you establish your LLC when you live in California, but your home state of residence is Michigan, but you're moving to Florida? What do I do with that? These are specific things that military spouse entrepreneurs need to juggle. So we saw a gap and we became the largest advocates for it.
That's amazing. And I think you knowing the challenges behind it, like you can really provide the support when, I mean, I can't even imagine having to decide as you're moving to different states, how the laws change from state to state.
It is. It's the most common questions: how to pay taxes, where to pay taxes, what tax breaks do you get as a military spouse? Because it's not the same as a veteran. Veterans get specific tax breaks or fee waivers or license waivers. So a huge part of what I do is I've been working with the Center for American Entrepreneurship on legislation to actually open up those tax breaks to the military spouse as well as the veteran, because at the end of the day, it's the same bank account. So we want to make sure that we're affecting the economic impact of the military family as a whole, and looking at the military spouse as the other side of the veteran coin. And with both the veteran and the military spouse are doing well financially, economically, in their careers, the military family unit can do well and thrive.
Yes, for sure. So much good info that I honestly have family members also in the armed forces and military, but I don't know all these details and everything that they go through.
And most people don't understand that. And it's things I physically went through in my first business where I had to pay an $800 licensing fee every year. But it was free for veterans. And I was like, okay, it's coming out of the same bank account. Why is it waived for him and not for me? And it was this whole, well, that's just the way it's done. And we're like, well, that's got to change. Or we have a discount, but it's only a discount to this platform or service if you're a veteran. Well, I'm the military spouse. My veteran's right here. Would you like to talk to him? Can we both have the discount? So it's just those conversations of addressing, well, we do serve the military community. Well, you might only serve half the military community. Let's figure out how we can serve the military community as a whole.
Yeah. And you mentioned resources, and I also checked out your platform. I see you have a podcast. I see you have a blog. Can you share a little bit more about the resources and then the events also that you're hosting throughout the state?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that when we started AMC was advocacy, to be a loud voice in a room full of veteran and entrepreneurial services saying military spouses needed their own services, and why. And we kind of went against the grain because we were in a sea of big fish, and they were like, well, we already have a program. We're not building another program. And once we started getting loud through media avenues, having military spouse, on the podcast, military spouse blogging about the challenges they're facing in business and military spouse life. But all of these different resources from our partners like NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center and Hello Alice, who can help be an amplifier of the things to say military spouses are a separate community. They can't be lumped in with veterans. And here's the services and resources that we need. And this is why it's different, because we're running businesses, but we're also living the active duty lifestyle at the same time, while our service members are usually gone or deployed, and we're usually living in cities where we don't have support or we haven't plugged into a business network. So the resources came from leveraging the community, becoming an advocate, and just getting awareness out there of this whole demographic of the country that needs support and needs help. Like I said, it's one of the highest unemployed demographics in the country, but we can fix that very easily through remote work and entrepreneurial options and support. So there's so many great resources, and so many organizations from the SBA down have now established great programming specifically for military spouse entrepreneurs. So there's a plethora within the military community, from Bunker Labs to Hello Alice to the SBA to outside like NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, Founder Institute, that are specifically giving resources and education to military spouse entrepreneurs.
And we do have a question here from the audience.
Yeah.
As a MilSpouse, how have you managed to hold on to your individual identity and not let it get shadowed by that of your husband?
So for anybody that follows me on LinkedIn, if you haven't, feel free to follow me. It's the biggest topic I talk about. As a military spouse, you're often beaten down and battered by this lifestyle. You're exhausted. You can't find your path because it's the military first, your spouse second, your family third, and then you're like, where do I fall on this ladder, right? You get resentful. You start to feel anger that you can't chase your wants, your desires, your dreams, your goals, and you just want to feel like you're worth it, right? So I stumbled into my entrepreneurial path, and I said, you know what? It's my turn. It's my turn now. And it's my turn. I'm going to take control of this. And it's hard in the entrepreneurship lifestyle, but I had to carve out my own journey and say, I am 1/6 of this family and I deserve 1/6 of the energy. I didn't put myself last anymore. And I made the time and I said, you know what? Sorry, you can't sign up for that extra sport because mom's got work to do. Or I'm sorry, honey, you can't go on that bonus trip you want to sign up for. I have work to do. My husband's transitioning out this year after 20 years and he didn't want to, but I said, that's it. We're done. Our family sacrificed enough. It's my turn. So sometimes just finding your voice and saying, it's my turn and I need to set aside time, even if it's calendar blocking, like Fridays are mom's time between 12 and 4, mom and dad, like spouses or dads too. This is my time to chase my dreams or go after my work. Sometimes it's in bed at night. Sometimes it's during school hours. Sometimes it's before they wake up when you have your coffee in the morning, but carve that time out for you and don't get lost in this lifestyle. It's very easy to do it. Find your support system, find your community, find other spouses who are doing it, living it, and they will pump you up all day and they will bring you along on this journey. And I'll be your biggest cheerleader. So come say hi.
Oh, I love that. I love that question. I can't even imagine, like, as a woman, as a mother, and then as a MilSpouse on top of that, to really establish these boundaries to make sure that you get your work done and what in your own goals.
And it's ebbs and flows. You know, we teach resources on how do you scale your business back and how do you scale your business back up. And that's not something the traditional entrepreneurship community has to deal with. But during a deployment, you're gearing up for a deployment. Sometimes you need to scale down because your demands on your time are more. And then when homecoming comes, you can scale your business back up. Or during a cross-country PCS, when you're moving, you got to scale your business down and then scale your business back up. But traditionally in business, scaling your business back or scaling your business down has a negative connotation. To the military spouse entrepreneur, it's life. We don't have a choice, but we just give you the tools and resources to successfully scale your business back, convey that information to your clients, financially prepare, and then scale your business back up due to the lifestyle that we're leaving.
Honestly, I think MilSpouses sound like the best startup leaders because you're so adaptable, flexible, and you have to be like these are the conditions. So
yeah, I say that every day. I was like, we have to curve and swerve every single day. We are built for entrepreneurship. We're just like, oh, that went wrong. Okay, nothing goes right in military life. So we're used to it. Nothing goes right in business. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And you just have to have the grit and the endurance to fail forward and get back up.
yes, and the community, right?
Community, that is the most important aspect, surrounding yourself with great people because it's hard and it's exhaustive. So find your people wherever they're at.
Mm-hmm. And what about you personally, when you co-founded this organization, like how did you juggle all of this alone as you were starting also your own business?
It's exhausting and you have to have grit and stamina. And just like I said, you have to carve out time for you. So just like when I'm on my phone and I'm working, or I'm on my computer and I'm working, my family has to have boundaries. Like, mom's working, you cannot come bother me. And I set hard deadlines. But my husband deployed this year. We're in November. I've only seen my husband like 28 days this year. It's been hard and it's exhaustive, but I have a community of people to support me and rely on. And on days when I'm like, I can't do it today, I have a network or a team that can come back in and fill in for me. So finding your support system is the key to picking you up on the hard days, to cheering you on the good days. You need to have that support system in place, but you have to just carve that time out for you. Know that this is a job, know that this is your journey, and know that you deserve it. Just keep going.
Yeah. And how do your kids feel about this, like seeing you in the background, working through this business?
My kids are so proud of me. And that's a huge thing of what, a part of what I advocate for is that when you are confident in yourself and you are happy, and even sometimes you might not be bringing money in as an entrepreneur, but you are confident and happy and passionate and doing something that you love, your kids will see that. And eventually they will remember those things. So in every business that I've started, my kids have helped me. My oldest son, who's 22 now, when he was 16, he was my first employee at my first company. And he stayed with me until being my last employee when we closed the doors. And he learned all these amazing skills. And my kids have helped me in every aspect from my business, from pretending to do invoices to being paid to take papers off the printer. You got to make it fun for them, but teaching them that they don't have to back down. They don't have to take a traditional career path. They don't have to just pick one thing. They can do anything that they want to do. And as I have 2 kids in college now, I'm constantly advocating where just because you have this degree doesn't mean that's what you have to do. I have a degree in biology and psychology, and I've scaled technology companies and food companies, like nothing to do with biology and psychology. So don't get peg-holed into like one thing. You can be as many things as you want to be and keep reinventing yourself till you find what works.
Oh, I love that quote. And it's very applicable to everyone. I think a lot of people study one or like an education or one path and feel stuck there and have trouble switching paths.
Yeah, it's a mindset. I always say, some people only see ceiling and I see sky. Like, sky is literally the limit. You don't have to be in a box. You can have as many boxes as you want. Who said you have to have one box? I have a ton of boxes. So when people ask me what I do, it's the hardest question for me to answer because I do so many different things. But I'm okay with that. I love that. And I love that I don't have to answer to anybody's norms of what they think I should be when I say I am blank and it's one word or one sentence or one profession. No, I'm a mom and, I'm an EMT, I'm a biologist, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an advocate, I'm a military spouse. I have lots of titles and I do whatever my life needs me to do at that given time that makes me happy.
I love that. So many great quotes that I'm taking inspiration myself as a non-military spouse, but just really amazing things that you're doing. And I could imagine like joining the organization and like this example that you're providing to MilSpouses who are just starting, that encouragement, that inspiration, and all the knowledge that you've accumulated from your own experiences. So I think it's very amazing. to share.
Thanks. And sometimes it's not just entrepreneurship isn't a traditional path for military spouses. Sometimes they come because they feel beaten down and they're exhausted and they don't know what to do. Well, I have a degree in health administration, or I have a degree in social work. What do I do? Well, what do you love to do? And how can we turn your skills into something that makes you money at the end of the day, something you can take with you all over the world, and something that makes you happy? So sometimes it's just hey, they don't mean to be entrepreneurs. They have a specific set of skills. Now let's find out how we can make a revenue model around that for you.
So as they come into the organization, is that how it works? Like you meet with them and help them through deciding what path they want to take?
Well, there's education curriculum that has been built so they can walk through video modules and downloads. And there's everything from step one, find your why, what does success look like to you, mission, vision, and values, like actually mapping out your idea, all the way to launching your idea. And then that's where our great resource partners come in. Once you're launched and you're up and running, you can come in and watch live masterclasses on specific topics. You can join virtual co-working spaces, you can join group coaching, or you can go as you scale to our partners, like I said, like Founder Institute, Hello Alice, and great organizations that are this whole community that are here to support you. But if you have questions any step of the way, there's an online community that's living all over the world doing exactly what you're doing, from step 1 to step 1000. So there's always somebody there to lend a hand. What did you use for this website platform? Who did you use for an attorney? How do I file this? And there's a million hands out to help you wherever you are in that journey.
Love that. And we do have a comment from our audience, Natasha. She said, love this. Moms are always put last, and we have to take care of ourselves to take care of our families as well.
Exactly. You can't pour from an empty cup. I know we've all heard that one, right? You have to fill your cup. Sometimes we just forget to because we get lost in the chaos. Don't get lost in the chaos. Fill your cup.
I love that. All of this advice I'm taking in myself. So I do want to touch on a couple of points. I know that you do have some rules for a successful and sustainable business. So we'd love to have you share them with our audience now.
Yeah, so my first rule is to just start. Don't have analysis paralysis. And we have so many spouses that are afraid, especially the spouses that are, 94% of our spouses are women. If you're a woman, if you're a mom, you typically have this idea, but you're afraid to just start. You feel like you need everything in order. You got to have this filed. You got to have this website up. You don't have to have it perfect. Just literally leap and build it on the way down. That's my whole mantra. Go, it'll get better as you go. You'll perfect it as you go. And you'll look back a year from now, 5 years from now, and you'll cringe at the things that you had, but you'll look at the journey and how much better you got at it. So the first rule is to just start. Don't be afraid to lead. The second, find mentors. That's my golden rule. I have mentors in all different aspects. They're like doctors, so you need mentors in different areas of your life, right? So whether it's a mentor in the military spouse world, a mentor in entrepreneurship, a mentor in the specific field that you want to be in, there are amazing people out there that have done the things that you want to do. Go find them and reach a hand out and say, I would love some support. Would you be willing to jump on a mentorship call with me? And build that trusted circle, because those are the people that you're going to rely on the really hard days, or when you're so lost, you have no idea what to do. Yeah. And then create a culture around you. So when you do start building your company and you start bringing in team, lean on each other. So in my first company, I started hiring people. I started hiring military spouses because I was like, I was unemployed. I had to create this company to have employment and income. I'm going to go hire other military spouses. So create the culture where you can all lean on each other on the days where one kid gets sick, then the next kid gets sick, then the third kid gets sick, and then you get sick. Like, that's just the way it works. But create a culture where your team picks up and you pick up for each other and you lean on each other for support. A big one is know your numbers. A lot of military spouse entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs in general, don't know their numbers. How do you plan to make money? So you have a great idea, you have passion, everybody wants to help and give back. And I see that a lot, but how are you going to pay yourself? How are you going to pay for the business? And how are you going to scale it to pay other people? So pay close attention, learn your numbers. Lots of people say, I hate math, I'm bad at math. learn it. Trust me, it will make you a successful entrepreneur to know your numbers inside and out, and it will help you to achieve those big, large numbers, which I didn't understand in my first business. We brought in $950,000 in revenue in the first year, and I was like, is that a good thing? Like, I had no idea. So learn and get to know your numbers inside and out and how you plan to make money. And most importantly, the last tip is to fail forward. It's my motto every day. What went right? What went wrong, and how do I become better? You're gonna fail every day, not just in military spouse life, but in entrepreneurship life. It's literally essential. You're gonna fail big, you're gonna fail small, but you can't let it paralyze you. You learn from your experiences, you surround yourself with support, and you pick yourself up and you keep going. The biggest entrepreneurs in the world are only that way because they didn't stop. They kept going when they got knocked down. So just have that endurance and that grit that I know this military spouse community has, and fail forward every day.
So many great nuggets of advice. And so we do have a couple of minutes. So before we close out, I do want to have you share, like, for our audience, how can they continue to connect with you, with your organization as well, and any upcoming things that they can join, any resources that you'd recommend reaching out to if they're looking to get started with their entrepreneurial business?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who wants to talk to me personally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And today's National Entrepreneurs Day, so it's one of my favorite days of the year. So cheers to everybody, and congratulations, celebrating everyone. But there's so many incredible resources and support systems out there. You just have to find what works for you and not be afraid to not only plug into your military spouse ecosystem like at AMC, but also the business community. We often get lost in that military bubble of only looking for military specific resources. Get out in town, get to know your Chamber of Commerce, get to know your local SCORE chapter or your local startup grind chapter. Whatever it is, look in your backyard and find community to plug into, not just your military spouse community, but your business community. And in almost every major base in the country, there's a support system, women's business centers, economic development centers, SBA chapters, or VBOCs, veteran business outreach centers. Look, what's in your community, and connect online. So the biggest thing is to connect online, get comfortable being online, and build your network online. And it's what's helped me become a successful entrepreneur and advocate and leader, because I'm online and I know people all over the world because I voice my opinions on who I am, what I'm doing, and what I care about. LinkedIn is a powerful, powerful tool. So when you have to move your business from San Antonio to Fort Bragg, you're already going to be connected with people there because you've connected online in advance. So military spouse community leverages the Facebook community a lot, but move on over to LinkedIn if you want to be a successful entrepreneur as you move your business all over this country and this world. So connect.
Do you have any advice for more introverted people who have a little bit of trouble showing up or reaching out?
Find somebody to introduce you or carry you with. We all have that introverted friend and the extroverted friend, right? I'm obviously an extrovert. I don't know if you noticed that. Find an extroverted friend who is connected, or reach out to somebody who is connected and say, hi, networking is not my thing. I have a hard time reaching out and just saying hello. Would you be willing to make some introductions for me? Or send me some invites to some virtual events or things like that. Whatever your comfort level is, sometimes just having someone say, hi, this is so-and-so, you should get to know her or him. They're building a great business and this is what they need. That's all you need to feel a little more comfortable than just cold pitching yourself like I do all the time. Hi, I'm Flossie. Nice to meet you. So if you're introverted, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help, and find at least a few people, and you got to connect, and you can't expect to get help without asking for help. And I've always said, I'm the first person with my hand up in the room saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can somebody help me?
I love that. And you're right. And I think in general, like, we want to help each other.
Yeah.
So just asking is the first step. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can't be afraid to ask for help. And you're never going to get anywhere if you don't. And I've always been the person to celebrate my failures publicly so that people can learn from them and say, this is what not to do. And now here's what we did to make it better. But you can't be afraid to put your hand up, to say, this is what went wrong, to say, I need help, or who can help me, because then people don't know you need help and you're not going to get the right help. So extend a hand. This community is amazing. You'll see what you'll get back.
Love that. And I do value the sharing your failures, because I think that's how we connect and we realize like it's going to happen. And here's a perfect example of someone just being vulnerable and sharing, and it could happen to me too, but I'll get through this. So.
Yeah, it's sometimes you just need somebody to say, I've done all this stuff wrong too. So don't worry. I always say my first business, even though it had a tremendous amount of success, it's how not to start a business. I did everything wrong at least 3 times before I did it right. It was a lesson in entrepreneurship in a really big, hard way. So don't be afraid to share those failures and say this is what's going on, because every business has failures up and down. Like I said, big and small. Sometimes they're just not always public, but some of the biggest companies have some stuff to get together too. So don't worry about it. We're all just getting by one day at a time.
Yes, I love that. And it looks like we're about to get kicked out. What a great conversation, Flossie. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your organization as well. I believe in the chat, our team will be dropping in your LinkedIn and the link to the platform. Yep. So please, to our audience, continue to follow Flossie, join the organization, and also share it with other MilSpouses out there who are looking for a community like this, who want to make moves like this, or just are interested in learning about it. So,
yeah, thanks for having me. I love all the work that you guys do. I'm so appreciative.